Breezes of Deceit, written by Ethel Cook Wilson, narrated by Brittany T. Jasper. Chapter 1, Kirk and Grace. Gentle water caressed the sides of the summer breezes as she sat anchored in the harbor. Grace and Kirk stared at twinkling lights that dotted the mountainous island like jewels on black velvet, while listening to the faint music of a steel drum. Oh, Kirk, it has been too long coming. I've wanted to return ever since we left. It's hard to believe time passed so quickly. Come here. Kirk pulled her closer, placed his hand gently beneath her chin, and tilted her head in anticipation of a passionate kiss. Instead, Grace pulled away. What's wrong? The abrupt gesture surprised him. She moved along the bow, her shoulders shaking. Memories of their early married life in St. Thomas flooded her mind. She used to go to Lindbergh Bay, across from the airport, and wait for Kirk to finish his duties as assistant airport manager. It's also where she found him having a moonlight picnic with Joy, a flight attendant. The night she came upon them, something in her gut had prompted her to go there. Kirk having to stay over for a late flight was happening more than usual when there was nothing that should have caused it. Hurricane season was over, and bad weather had not come to the New York area where many of the flights originated. As was the routine, Cyril, their favorite airport cabbie, was sent to notify Grace so she wouldn't worry. Thanks. We can always depend on you. Instead of bidding him good night and closing the door, she crawled onto the seat beside him. Take me to Lindbergh Bay, Cyril. Not to the mountaintop, Miss Grace. The Frenchie behind the bar been asking after you. Is something wrong there? It's not normal to miss a whole week without your banana daiquiri. You know me too well, Cyril. I have to start driving to keep my haunts under cloak, but this on the wrong side stuff still scares the bejesus out of me. You'll have your confidence soon, but no rush. Why not let me take you to Cookie Point tonight if you need a high place to lift your spirits? Besides, the moon shines brighter there. Cyril flashed a broad smile, but he did not get one in return. Lindbergh Bay. Her voice had an uncharacteristic hardness to it. Heavy silence filled the car as they wended their way down the rough road from Red Hook to the opposite end of the island. To lighten it, Cyril turned on the radio. The booming voice of the mighty sparrow sang to the world the sweetness of saltfish. Saltfish? There's just something crazy sparrow sings about. She had been in the islands long enough to know the music was full of nuance and innuendo. Maybe one day you'll tell me about the something crazy, Cyril. At a gigantic cluster of sea grapes along the airport road, Grace gestured. Pull over here and wait. He drifted to the side of the road and dimmed his lights. He reached across and opened the door for her. I can come with you. No, thank you. She pushed the door shut and walked through the bushes towards the beach and found what she had suspected. Kirk and Joy sat on a blanket, chuckling as they listened to the mighty sparrow on her transistor. This is the emergency he needed it for, flitted through her mind. From behind a bent palm, she watched them nibble on cubes of Danish ham, French cheese, and each other. They interlocked their arms and raised their glasses in a toast. To their love, she imagined. Grace moved closer and stood over them. So, may I assume the plane did arrive, Kirk? She looked at her watch. If the flight had not arrived on schedule, her husband and his apparent lover would not have had a time for their full-blown tryst. Grace reached down and took a handful of sand, tossed it onto the food neatly arranged on the Malmac plates. She kicked the wicker basket, spilling the rest of its contents, while Kirk and Joy sat stunned. Enjoy your long shift, Kirk. She pointed to the gauzy see-through maxi dress Joy wore and turned and trudged back to the car. Miss Grace? Yes, Cyril. Back to Red Hook now. Tears welled in her eyes. She turned towards the window so Cyril would not see her cry and shook her head. Anywhere other than. Cyril drove along the waterfront before turning up the craggy hillside road that led towards the other side of the island. The moon gets weepy and cries, Miss Grace. It absorbs your sadness, you know. A smile spread across her face. You islanders have such a lovely way of expressing emotion. I don't want to cause the moon any distress, Cyril. It is so gorgeous. She took the handkerchief he held out to her. You think it's pretty from here, no? 'Tis but a flicker. I'll take you to where you can really see its beauty. Cyril downshifted, and like a mountain goat he ascended the rocky, winding road. Soon he arrived at a clearing on the bluff that overlooked the Caribbean Sea. She gasped at the vista. Shimmering moonbeams danced on the gentle lace-fringed waves of the white sandy beach below. Cyril! Grace touched his hand that rested on the steering wheel. Yes? Does the beach have a name? Corky Beach. This I said to you earlier. Would you like to go down to it one day? Yes, and soon. Come. Cyril extended his long, slender fingers for her to grasp. He pulled her towards him as he opened the door and stepped outside. At the front of the car they stood while late evening zephyrs caressed them. When you first came back from Lindbergh Bay, did you mention a picnic? Yes, I did. Grace told of the encounter with Kirk and Joy. Cyril put his fingers to her lips. Wait. He went to the rear door of the cab, retrieved a foil-wrapped package, and a clean beach towel. As he leaned over arranging the towel, Grace asked, What are you doing? He unwrapped the foil and placed a large wooden bowl in the middle of the towel. A picnic for you, Miss Grace. So you just happened to have this, did you? Bert, the chef at Phrygia? Yes, he always prepares something for me when I come to take him home. He's from my island, you know. And which one is that? Antigua. Grace stooped, then sat. It smells delightful. She touched the edges of the dish. I'm surprised it's still warm. Should be. Bert must have used a whole roll of foil. Cyril laughed. But I am always surprised by the gift. He never tells me, but it's always something that reminds me of home. Cyril looked at the dish. Ah, he's put fungi here, and that's a half a duckna. If I search around more, I'll probably find fried fish. I've never tasted duckna. Well, there's our first time for everything. Cyril took a spoonful and held it to Grace's mouth. Her eyes stretched wide, showing her pleasure with the savory, grated sweet potato dumpling. This tastes like Thanksgiving. Island style, Cyril said. Corky Beach tomorrow? Grace swallowed, looked up at the moon, then at Cyril, and said, Yes. Chapter 2, Kirk and Grace. Success in the corporate world, a lucrative career as a writer, their joint efforts raising a family and making wonderful memories had not erased the unhappy events that soured their earlier stay in St. Thomas. Instead, this stop dredged up vestiges of pain. Please, Grace, still after all this time? I'm sorry. Why did you suggest here if it was going to make you unhappy? I didn't know I'd feel this way until we got here. She turned and went into the cabin. He had given up smoking years earlier, but now he patted his pockets as he used to when he needed to calm his churning gut. He shook his head at the realization the ghost of his young foolish indiscretions still flitted through his marriage, leaving a chill in its wake. Time hasn't healed this wound. Seems only death will kill the memory. In the cabin, Kirk found Grace changing into a fresh outfit. Are you going somewhere? Yes, to the dock. I need to clear my head. I'll come with you. It's late. No, you will not. You didn't think about that when we lived here. I'll be fine. She slid into the boat and turned towards Lindbergh Bay, the opposite direction of the pier. Why is she going there? Grace rode into the night. Kirk listened as each dip in the water became fainter than the one before. Her leaving did concern him, but there was no reasoning with her now. Besides, Yacht Haven dazzled with all the vessels lit up like Christmas trees. She'll be okay, he reassured himself. A water taxi trolling the area yelled, "Hey, my son, you want to go ashore?" Why not? Who knows? Maybe I'll run into some of the old islanders that used to work at the airport. He crawled behind the driver and braced as the jet skis skipped to an area just beyond the St. John's Ferry terminal. The driver maneuvered close enough for Kirk to pull himself onto the pier. "Thanks, chap." He handed the driver a bill. A handsome tip was included. "You need me to find someone for you? Like special girl?" "Oh, no. But I plan to be in port for a few days. Just come by from time to time. I'm sure I'll need you again." The driver pulled his cell phone from his pocket. "Here, give me your number. I can check with you." "Ah, good idea. Let me call you. That way I'll have your number and you mine." 809-55-1212. The phone began to vibrate. "You got it, my son. I'm Noel." "Great, Noel. Kirk. I'll be in touch." Waterfront had changed over the years. Louveridge shops had been replaced by newly built shopping plazas. The Hilton, a show place where steel bands set the mood as early as 3 p.m., no longer stood out. There, Kirk had entered a limbo contest. Almost won, he remembered. But he fell flat on his back, smudging the crisp white uniform shirt. His co-workers, especially the natives, laughed when he told them what happened. He changed into the extra shirt he kept in his locker to avoid explaining to Grace. Lost in his thoughts and trying to get his bearings, Kirk jumped when a sinewy ebony islander bumped into him. "Sorry," Kirk said. He thought he'd at least get a grunt from the offender, but the stilted body with waist-length dreadlocks moved along in zombie-like silence. A wet trickle moved down the back of his right leg. He reached to where the Bermuda shorts ended just below his knee, swiped his hand, smearing a red substance. Blood? He lifted his cabana shirt and looked. The pocket of his shorts had a long slit just beneath it. His wallet was gone. "Hey, man!" Kirk yelled, but the bumper was nowhere in sight. He must have darted into one of the alleys. Or did he rendezvous with Noel? His mind brimmed with suspicion. Everything happened so quickly. Now he felt stupid for being so trusting. A couple of tourists stopped and asked if they could help. "Yes, I need to get to a hospital or clinic." They hailed a cab. When Kirk approached it, the driver said, "I don't want white man's blood all over me seats, my son. Get the motor driver behind me. He'll take care of Knudson. 'Tis the closest place." The cabbie flagged the scooter driver to stop, then drove away. He recognized Kirk, but since it had been many years since they had last been in each other's company, Kirk didn't acknowledge him. Maybe he was too distressed, Cyril thought. At Knudson Hospital emergency room, Kirk got immediate attention. The slash required stitches. When the doctor finished, he gave instructions to the attending nurse. 2 shots. 1 antibiotics, the other for pain. Kirk read the doctor's ID badge. "Yes?" The doctor's face was blank. "I knew some Creakies when I lived here before." "Not unusual. The island has quite a few. Not all related, you know." Kirk decided not to pursue the subject. If he wanted to, it wouldn't have happened. The doctor had hurried away, probably to the next catastrophe. The nurse returned and plunged one syringe after the other into the buttock without the wound. "Great, now my whole ass hurts." "Get your pants up and you can go, sir. Check at the payment desk. When you're cleared there, they will buzz you out." "Damn, I'm a hostage until I pay," Kirk blurted out without thinking. "What you think, sir? You no need to pay 'cause you're in the islands? We'd go broke taking care of every careless oaf who walks around inviting trouble." Inviting trouble. With his pants secured, he walked the corridor to the plexiglass cage where the discharge clerk sat. He gave his name. Without looking up, she quoted his bill. "You can do cash or credit card. We prefer cash." He stood stunned. He forgot he didn't have his wallet. He felt for his cell phone to call Grace. It was missing. The clerk sat rolling her eyes. "I waiting, sir." "Sorry, I was assaulted. Do you know how often I hear that story?" "I know the next part. They took your wallet and your cell phone." Kirk nodded. "Can't help you with the wallet, but step around here and use this phone. If you don't really have anyone to call, then I will call the VI police. They will escort you to your accommodations for the night." Is she threatening jail? He fumbled with the phone, his nerves getting the better of him. God, do I even know her number? Desperation filled his voice, and disturbing thoughts flooded his mind. Did I get the out-of-country insurance? Grace told me to do it, but I don't remember if I did. He now prayed she did something that always annoyed him. Perform a requested task before he had the chance. The discharge clerk yawned. The clock on the wall showed 20 minutes to 11. She sucked air through the large gap in her upper front teeth. "Hey, Dudu, you no ring up no one yet? I leave shortly, you know." Yeah, it went to voicemail. There was truthful pity in his voice. "You are Hurricane Rick. Sure you ring up the right number?" He was sure. The chirpy, "This is Grace, leave a message," was definitely what he heard. "I don't know what to do." "Excuse me." The clerk's tone had softened. She pressed a button under her desk and waved for a young man standing outside the door to come in. Kirk walked in a tight circle, looking down with his arms hugging his body. When he heard the door open, he didn't know whether to run towards the young man who entered or run away. It was Noel. "Kirk, my son, what are you doing here?" "I got mugged, well, jacked, or whatever it's called here." Blanket suspicion again covered his thoughts. Everyone was a potential culprit. "What are you doing here, Noel? Came to see if I survived?" "What the hell you saying, man?" "No, I come for to take my girl home." Noel pointed to the discharge clerk. "Well, I'm going to jail if I don't come up with the money for my bill. And I can't since my wallet is gone." "Not to worry, my friend. I take care of ya." Chapter 3. Cyril. Cyril flipped open his phone and dialed. "Hey, Wyndham, I'm taking Mary to the airport. She flight gonna be late departing. Need you to pick up a fare for me, okay?" Cyril looked over at his wife, who appeared lost in thought. "Mary, your mom is a tough old bird. She will pull through this." He looked back just in time to see someone flagging his cab to the side. "Cyril, are you going to stop? They seem desperate." Cyril pulled along the curb, put his car in park, and stepped from his seat. He surveyed the situation and offered a solution. When he got back into the car, Mary asked, "Why did you tell them that, Cyril?" "It's true. I don't want blood all over my car, and I don't want to get tangled up in this, accused of assaulting a man. I have no time for such suspicions. Did you see me flag over the motorbike driver? The kid will get him taken care of. Besides, I take no chances with your flight. Want to get you there just in case the plane leaves on time. If not, I'll sit and wait with you." He touched her arm. "What?" "I love you. I'm missing you already, and you haven't even gone." "I feel the same about you. I can't wait until I get back." Mary slid closer to him. Cyril looked at his rearview mirror and smiled. "All is going well. Excuse me, Mary. A couple more calls to make. Like dominoes, one thing falls and push everything else out of place." Mary scooted to the far side of the seat. "Oh, no, lovey. I'm not faulting you. Just life, you know?" Cyril speed dialed more numbers and issued specific instructions. Yeah. Pick up Lukeman. Yeah. Waterfront. Get Noel too. Yeah, man. Knudsen. Okay, gotta go. Mary rolling her eyes at me. I need to love her up a little before she goes away for so long. Yeah, 2 long, lonesome weeks, my son. Things were working out. Knudsen? Mary asked. Isn't that where you told them to take the tourist? Yes, Mary, but that's not why I dispatched Noel, remember? He's got a Spitfire girlfriend there. If he not pick her up on time, she'll be all over him like shredded coconut on a cake. Mary pursed her lips and said, Good. Glad there's someone to finally keep him put. He flitted from girl to girl. It was a new one every week, maybe 2 a week during the high season. Chapter 4. Grace. A flickering light on Lindbergh Beach guided Grace toward shore. She dropped a small anchor and waited in the lulling boat as a shadowy figure waited to meet her. Her heart raced, but the voice startled her. Hi, Miss Grace. Darkness still shrouded the face, and this was not the voice she had expected. That was bad, but it was one that she recognized, which was good. Hello, Wyndham. He tilted the boat for her to slide into the water. There, he said. He cast the anchor back in, and they tugged the vessel onto the sandy beach. Not to worry, Miss Grace. I only had temporary stand-in. Delays sidetracked our friend. Oh, Grace sighed. Well, how have you been, Wyndham? The wife, children? All back in Antigua. They really no like this place. Me, it is no bother. I stay where I can work. Grace thought it a pity Wyndham and men like him still concerned themselves with survival, though they were as old as Kirk. But they did not grow up in the economic climate that Kirk did, and had not had the same good fortune. Are you still at the airport? Part-time. The other part, I work private security at a family compound in Just Van Dyke. Oh, that's quite a ways away from the airport. You take the ferry over? Yes, usually. Wyndham and Grace pulled the boat to a coconut tree and secured it. You think it'll be okay? Just a swift machete chop to the rope and off someone can go, Wyndham. I hope the thief will be ready for this, said a man who came towards them. Good to see you, Miss Grace. Lukeman lowered his machete, then grasped Grace's hand to kiss it. Wyndham nudged it away. Looks like you take leave of your senses. Maybe you should retire the bottle for the night and concentrate on your duty. Lukeman's raucous laughter splintered the silence. He retreated to his den. He keeps pickling his brain, crazy old shit. But still he has sense to know when to check his moves. Wyndham and Grace walked to his jeep. Up in, let's go to Fallen Angel. Good band tonight. Youngsters from Grenada, and they are good. Grace cringed. The bar was located just off waterfront in Drake's Passage, an alley dotted with small clubs and bars. She had left Kirk on the yacht, but what's to say he didn't leave? What if he sees me cruising along waterfront with another man? The traffic always crawled there, so it wouldn't be hard for him to do. She dismissed the worries and enjoyed the caressing trade winds that sent a balm over the island. She preferred the warm, soft breezes to the artificial coolness of air conditioning, but she needed a barrier between her and the outside, other than a fluttering of air. Wyndham, would you please roll up the windows and put on the AC? She braced for verbal blowback to what seemed unreasonable and expensive. Petrol cost twice as much in St. Thomas as on the mainland. But she was surprised. Sure, I understand. Also, I'll park around back in Government Square. 'Twill be better to enter from that end. Inside the dim, smoke-filled club, Grace followed Wyndham to a niche far from the door. She moved aside as he pulled out a chair for her to sit. I'm going to the bar. Are you drinking anything tonight, Miss Grace? She wanted something, but had to keep a clear head. Her eyes were peeled for someone she wanted to see and for someone she was hoping not to see. Just a Coke with a twist of lime, Wyndham. Thank you. When her cell phone buzzed in her pocket, she jumped and fumbled to retrieve it. She stared at the number. I don't recognize it. The cell went to voicemail. She'd check later when she could hear. That was impossible in the club, which was pulsating with a catchy island tune. Wyndham placed drinks in the middle of the table. "Come, let's dance." "Wait, let me take a quick sip. Don't you want to taste yours before we start?" They both took long swigs, then moved into the middle of the crowd that gyrated on the floor. Grace's cell phone vibrated again. Not now. Wyndham's strong hands grabbed each side of her waist and swished her from side to side like the agitator of a washing machine. She yelled above the noise, "I'm glad I didn't have any rum. I'd be sprawled on the floor." She tossed back her mane of loose hair and giggled. As the dance floor cleared, the lead singer spoke suggestively into the mic to entice the crowd to return. "I'm gonna slow it down, let you cool off and think a bit. Just want you to think, don't start to cry." He laughed and then signaled for the band to start. At the downbeat, dancers reclaimed their partners and returned to the floor. The sultry voice crooned, "Why do I keep fooling myself when I know you love someone else? Only a fool." Long, familiar fingers slid across Grace's back and turned her away from Wyndham. She melted into Cyril's arms as he whispered, "Breaks his own heart." After a few more steps, Cyril and Grace left the dance floor and joined Wyndham. "We're gonna leave now, man. Thanks for taking care of my lady." "Anytime, my friend. Miss Grace, take care." "I shall, Wyndham. I hope to see you before I leave the island." "I hope so." Grace and Cyril moved along Drake's Passage at an uncomfortably slow pace for her. She worried about the possible encounter with Kirk, so she quickened her steps. Cyril stopped and turned her to him. "Grace, 'tis no race. Just enjoy the stroll. Kirk might be... Do you think I'd put you in that kind of jeopardy? Relax." Chapter 5. Grace. Grace bolted. "Cyril? Cyril! Get up. I've got to go. What time is it?" She picked up her phone from the nightstand. It was not as late as she first thought. 3:30. Her body relaxed. "Plenty of time. Do you want a coffee? Wyndham has a great one here. Friend brought it from Germany, of all places. 'Tis Arabica. But the processing is the trick. Smooth, so smooth. Like you," he said, kissing her neck. Grace swatted his hand away. "Go make coffee before you make more trouble." "Oh," she said, remembering the 2 missed calls. A look at the phone logs confirmed her first impression. It was a number she didn't recognize. It was not Cyril's. His was the only one in the Virgin Islands she'd memorized. She went to her voicemail. No message. Only a long sigh and a muffled conversation as the caller hung up. One of the voices sounded like Kirk and the other an island woman. Really? Oh, really? Grace hit the readout button. "Knutson Hospital. May I help you?" "Oh, excuse the ring. Wrong number." A hard, rude bang from the other end made Grace jump. Cyril returned and sat next to her on the bed. He massaged her neck and ran his hand through her tousled hair. "By the time you get dressed, coffee will be done and we can go. Wyndham has a stash of mugs. People bring them from all over the world. I chose one from Paris. For you, my love." "Paris is good, but my heart is here in the islands. This is the land of lovers." "I know. Let the blooded Frenchman keep fooling himself." Cyril gently kissed her. "Okay, enough before we are in trouble again. Make ready to go. We got to rouse Lukeman from your boat. I'm sure he crawled in and made a bed of it the minute you and Wyndham left." They laughed. "By the way, I see you checking your phone. Not to worry. Was hospital, right?" "Yes," Grace said. "How does he know?" "No, Dudu. I not go through your phone while you sleep, if that's what you think." "I know you better than that, Mr. Cool. Are you psychic?" well connected, that's all. Someone who didn't know Cyril as well as she did would bristle at the seeming arrogance. But she knew what Cyril said was the truth. He had eyes and ears all over the island, reporting every move to him. Kirk got with a little accident. Really? No need to fret, Grace. Remember, I tell you last night to relax? I mean it. He's okay.